see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so Miami onboarding. I pulled together just a little bit of an introduction on IW. I know you guys mentioned you've already worked on Microsoft projects, so my intent is I'll go through the intro and I'll jump between the PowerPoint and our actual IW website just to go through all the resources. And then I know I got a list of people that needed access. I believe everyone has been given access. If you have issues, I got some instructions that I sent out to help, hopefully with access. But if you have more issues, there is a alias for ResNet support that can help if you're not able to get in there. So feel free to jump in and ask questions as we go along, and that's it. I'll get going here then. All right, so an intro on, our workplace, what we want our workplace to be, or how we understand our workplace and how we approach it in a way. It's not an office, from the thought that we're always learning and evolving our standards and guidelines and our design language. So it's a global approach to our portfolio, and it's really an opportunity when the way we approach a new project to bring communities together. We're designing this brand new space for a business group or whatever the space may be for. So we really want to think about that, bringing all the the people that are going to live in that space together with that sense of community. IW stands for Intelligent Workplace. So it's a global program that serves, that's intended for the designers and our partners as we're delivering spaces across the globe. It's put together to ensure that we have consistency across our portfolio, but also to reflect Microsoft's culture. Within our standards and guidelines, we provide clear guidance on how, there's some clear specifications on performance for our spaces, but also those design qualities that tie back to our culture and how we want to view our spaces, from a culture perspective and a branding perspective as well. So it's not, just that performance spec for our built environments. There's a lot of, more touchy-feely qualities that we want to make sure that also comes across the spaces that we build. Our beliefs here, things to keep in mind as you guys are designing and thinking about the experience that we want to have in the LATAM headquarters and this project here. Spaces are for people. Technology is human. I know we're a tech company, but I think through our culture and this cultural shift that we've gone through under Satya, we can really see that human touch. Simplicity is better than austerity. Just thinking we want to have a purpose and be authentic. I think there's a great opportunity here with the culture of the area where the space is going to be. We don't want to just be showy in a way. We want design with purpose. The brand is more than just our logo and color. So thinking through how can we fuse that brand element throughout the space, and nature's our ally. Thinking of views, ways to bring the outdoors in, etc. Design language, there's a whole section on the website. I'll go through the way things are organized, but it was created to provide these guiding principles and the qualities for our spaces. I think one thing that we always want to make sure that we're clear, this is a guide. It's not like a directive. So it's not like we're trying to replicate what's been done before. It's really just that the quality and that feel that we want our spaces to have. So I have, since we weren't able to meet in person and do a physical tour, hopefully in the near future we can do that. I did pull a lot of imagery from different projects that we'll go through at the end, and you can see there's a wide range of look and feels, but we feel like, everything should be part of that Microsoft family, but we definitely want the space to be unique to the region and unique to the business group in that sense. So tying back to our culture, when the design language was developed, making sure that we tie to our culture attributes was also important. So we worked with the HR team to make sure, what we were putting forward and what we're publishing does support, the growth mindsets, that idea that we're always learning, that we're not afraid to fail, and that there's a lot of learning opportunity. Customer obsessed, I don't think we need to touch on that, right? We want to learn from our customers, and we want to bring solutions that meet our customers' needs, and we're designing a space, especially having that customer space component for this project, that's definitely important. Diversity and inclusion is also something that we've been very focused on, and we want to make sure that we can serve everyone. So we're designing solutions that can help everyone from a technology perspective. So we want our spaces to reflect that. So definitely going above and beyond just, what we would say what code requirement is or what ADA standards call for. And One Microsoft and making a difference, it's our ability to work together to create a variety of spaces that support ideation, collaboration, but also concentration, heads down type of work, so that you know we can achieve our shared goals. And people work differently, so translating that into the physical space. So keeping all this in mind as we go through the design process. Touching on what we want our spaces to look like, I think if I had to, boil down to, it's getting away from that really commercial, corporate look. We want our spaces to be approachable, be comfortable, casual, easy. I guess I feel like, put people at ease in a way. So clean and bright, but with some layers to bring that personality into the space. We also want to make sure, with the current times that we're focused on health and wellness, cleanliness of textures and materials and things like that as we plan the spaces. That's something to keep in mind. Our design principles, I think last time I touched very high level on these items here on the screen. So the human touch, thinking of elements that feel authentic, crafted. I think, again, just the region we're in and where the project is, there's a lot of opportunity from that. It'd be engaging with local makers or local materials and things like that. I'm kind of excited of what you guys come up with that for this project. Also thinking of scale, right? The human scale. We want to, depending on how the space is planned, just making sure that fits within that scales is appropriate. Nature infused, the idea of, are there certain characteristics, how can we bring the indoors in, whether it be with biophilia plants, views. I know we brought that up last time. How can we play that up to our advantage? Even if we're not able to create outdoor spaces, right? How can we get that feel? Discovery and hidden messaging. I think it's always fun. Again, we go back to being a technology company. We have a lot of history. Is there any ways to integrate little elements here that have a story, whether it be the business group or, Microsoft history? There's, a lot of, you'll see some of the design language. We try to play with the mouse. There's some guidance on how we can have like these little hidden elements throughout the space. It's just a fun, like Easter egg, a discovery moment. Together alone goes back to the planning, collaboration. We want to make sure that people collaborate, but also allowing for spaces to focus and get work done, concentrate and decompress in a way too, right? We're again trying to plan for everyone. Not everyone's an introvert that wants to be around in that type of environment. So just finding the balance of private and collaborative spaces. A good host, it goes back to that idea of being approachable with the customer space here. I think that would be even more important, being welcome to everyone, not just the visitors but employees as well. Thinking of that for that employee space, what is the entry sequence, the front desk? I know there will be, I think a big challenge for us will be security. If we're doing the stairs that kind of connect all the spaces, how do we make that feel open but still kind of secured for, kind of address all the security's concerns, so it doesn't feel like there's a barrier, right? That it's not welcoming and things like that. So that's always a challenge for our projects, and I think we can solve it very creatively. Elevate the ordinary, thinking about, I think that goes hand in hand with that discovery element. Are there everyday elements that we can kind of use in a fun, different way, artistry or craftsmanship or something. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there. Timeless with distinction, I think, doesn't need much explanation. The thought of we don't want to create a space that's too trendy, that a year, 2 years down the road will just feel outdated. We want it to be timeless and that will last for a long time, and it will be a space where people want to come in and are comfortable and enjoy. And regional relevant. We don't have a cookie cutter design that we apply across the board. We want to make sure that's relevant to the business groups in that area, to the culture, and all of that. I think, again, I'm very excited about the opportunity there with the project being in Miami. So I'm going to jump around a little bit. I'm going to go to our website here. So there's two ways to navigate, but you can navigate from these drop-down menus up here or click the bigger boxes. The design language section.
Download anything, right? Because we tried it and we couldn't.
No, it's a live document. So that's the intent. We don't want, it used to be a large PDF that you could download and have your version, but since things get updated quarterly, this is a live document. I'm sure you could print from PDF, but there's not like a downloadable where you could download it all together. So that's changed. So under workplace goal is where you'll find the design language section. And, a lot of the information I talk through is in here with more detail. So there's some imagery, again, for reference, some examples. I wanted to just call attention to the bottom of the website. There's other sections down here. So if you go to design principles, I feel like a lot of people kind of tend to miss because it's at the bottom. So here, there's some more detail on, that information I went through. Things there are highlighted. It's the latest update from the previous section. So when we had our last quarterly update, that's what was updated in this section. So that's how you will know. Some project examples. So when you go to space qualities, there's just a lot of information here. It's broken out there's a section on flooring, art and accessories. So I would just make sure that you kind of dig deep and look through all the sections in there so you don't miss anything. Okay. And also to make sure we touch on cost considerations, right? We know we don't have a money tree or anything like that. So we feel like we can achieve this aesthetic and we can achieve our goals, but there's also some from a design standards perspective, some cost considerations here that I think are helpful. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of point out at the bottom of the page, make sure you go through there and that you get to all these other little sections. There is information here. So carpet, do's and don'ts. I think if we
David has been the only one able to navigate through it because Andrea and I couldn't get on, and Roger and Juliana didn't receive an email.
No, Roger got it, but he wasn't able to get it either.
Yeah, he didn't get in. So only David has been able to log on, but we'll fix that.
Right.
Yeah, if you can email that ResNet, because sometimes it's like a browser issue, something that's beyond my level of expertise. So they should be able to help you. Okay. So here there's some examples like if we want to play with the mouse graphic and have like the Easter egg moment, there's some examples here.
Okay.
So let me, open the wrong thing. Not that. Go back to the PowerPoint. So resources, I'll go back. The next section I was going to touch on, and again, on our intelligent workplace. So navigating to the main page here, I also always like to start with the site overview. I think a lot of times people kind of skip that and you go straight into content, but I think it's helpful to see how the site, this document here just walks you through how the site is organized with the chapters and pages. So, I mean, you can just kind of skim through here to see how things are organized. The next section here, change control and governance. So like I mentioned, this is a live document that quarterly gets updated. You can see when things will be published and when things, updates are coming up. You can track what has changed. So something changed, a bulletin is published. So if you have a question, maybe you notice, you were looking at something that was done a certain way, you can see, did that change or whatnot? There's the information is here. And then, like I said, it's a live document. It's meant to be global for projects. Typically, like you get to a certain point where you don't want to turn back, right? You can be updating your project with all these changes quarterly. So what we'll do is we will evaluate, Alejandro and I can talk about it, or as a project team, we can talk about it and see, is this something that we can accommodate at that point of the project? If not, because of cost or schedule or whatnot, we typically draw the line and say, okay, we feel like a certain point it would be very difficult to accommodate XYZ because of budget or schedule. If it's something really important, whether it be for RENS or for the project itself, then we can make that decision to adopt. So that's really kind of a case by case when it comes to changes to the design guidelines.
Does our access expire at some point?
It will. It typically expires. It takes a while. I think they go through periodically and kind of clean up and see people that haven't access in a while. They might get kicked off, but I think you should have access for a while.
Okay.
Okay, so that's that first section. So workplace goals, I talked a little bit about the design language section. Accessibility and inclusivity, here you will find information on the research that we've done. We also have the accessible handbook. So this document you should be able to download. And like I mentioned, we go above and beyond just what's code and what's standard. So this is our expectations. Like we have a section for standards. That's what we expect we would do for every project. There is also a checklist. So, it's not loading here, but sometimes you should be able to download this checklist. It's an Excel file. So when we do PDR, that's one thing we would ask that you submit along with the PDR document so we can see, okay, where are we able to achieve? If we're not able to achieve one thing, what's the reason? Do we ask, are we comfortable deviating from that reason or whatnot? So I would just make sure that you look through the section. And there are things that are, since it's a leased space, there are things that we probably can accommodate. We just need to be aware of what those things are and kind of track it. Any questions?
No, very clear so far.
Nope. Good.
Okay. Then the
Very
section
complete.
I'm sorry?
Very complete.
Okay. Section on sustainability. We have a baseline depending on the level of the project. I think, I believe we would be level 2, Dan, for this project.
Yes.
What does that mean?
I think that's what we're going for, yeah.
So
these are TI projects over 75,000 square feet. So each level has a different set of requirements.
Got it.
So you should be able, again, there's a checklist for level 2. You should be able to download that, and we would just track it that way. And again, if there's for one reason or another why we can't meet, a requirement or something like that, we just need to understand. And there is a resource that can help us if we have specific questions about the requirements and things like that. Because again, I am not a lead expert by any means, so we do have resources that can help us out.
Just if I could add one thing, when we look at the level 2, we don't really check all the boxes for that space, but the goal was try to do as much level 2 as we possibly could. And we may not be able to do everything, but we're trying to do as much of level 2 if we can.
Okay.
Okay. And then here also BIM standards. These are fairly new. pretty new BIM standards. If you guys can look through it, we also have a BIM resource that we can set up a meeting. Like if you go
Yeah,
through
we'll
and
have our
follow
BIM
questions.
manager be on the
Okay.
meeting as well. Mhm.
Yeah, then we can set up a meeting and go through all those questions. And then digital experiences. This is in relation to digital transformation and DT. I think, Alejandro, I believe you have some experience with the DT and things that were implemented in other projects. So I
Yeah,
think maybe we just
it
need
is
to understand
correct.
what level we would be doing for this project.
Yeah, I mean, the full scope of digital transformation is fairly new, right? It's not that we didn't have digital features in the past, but now the package is more comprehensive and complete. Let's say that is like a fact number one. Fact number two is the pilot projects are pretty much being started as we speak, and the full set of standards are still under development. Nevertheless, this project has been identified as one of the 7 key projects in the Americas region.
Oh my goodness, no pressure.
No pressure at all, Juliana.
Yeah.
No pressure at all. We have just confirmed that we will count with the support. It will be more. I mean, we do have a more trying to have a standard package of those experiences. It always depends on size and the kind of users. For instance, like a parking, probably we will not need necessarily something for parking as we have for Costa Rica, for instance, or cafeteria. But the way finding, the people counting.
Is there a specific software or what platform do you use it? Do you use?
We have a set of packages
Okay.
that were developed by Microsoft. We
Okay.
will use the specific Microsoft solutions.
Okay, cool.
Yes, we can when the time comes, we can engage with Rizwan and Martin Lambers. They will be supporting us on this project and determine what are specifically the experiences that we will have. But in the design, we will need to find the proper place for these kiosks. The design will need to include the people counting sensors. We may have some beam room and a BMS station, and that should be very intentional. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And then going to our building principles, I touched a little bit on the new hybrid workplace guidance last time. Under workplace principles, we have planning principles for different business groups. So if you guys take a look, we would be under the GSMO Corp/Ops. Food services planning, this is more around if we're doing a full-on cafe, but I know we do have a small food service area, so it might be worth taking a look in there too. NPR, we definitely have an NPR space. We'll get to MTC and Experience Center, but that might be something that we want to take a look as well. And then the other ones are more exterior and garage, which wouldn't be applicable.
And landscape? Oh, lab planning. Or we have
lab.
Okay.
Yeah, lab is more like, clean labs or some sort of where they work in hardware, things like that. So space types, this section has all our different space types sorted alphabetically. So for example, if you go, let's say, conference room small, we have all our specifications, design considerations. We have our, millwork, furniture, all the requirements in there, metrics. This takes a while to load. This is just the sizing for opening. So essentially, everything you need to know to kind of build out that room, lighting, electrical. And at the end here, we also have the drawings with dimensions, where the fabric wrap panels need to go, etc. I would make a note on the fabric wrap panels. This is the minimum to meet acoustic requirements. A lot of times designers ask, can we do the full height just to look more like an integrated design? So I would, again, we need to meet our minimal requirements for acoustics, but if there's for some reason a design element or for conference rooms and customer spaces, we can always, we don't want you to be constrained by these very specific requirements, right? These are the minimum. We want to meet the performance, but if there's something that it's a special room or something, we can always talk about it. It's not intended to kind of hinder your creativity. Supporting specifications. So under architectural, we have specs. So there's certain things here. You can go through like acoustical details and the for operable partitions, these are the minimum standards you have to meet. Doors, so a lot of information in the section.
Very much.
Detail.
He's worked
Any
for
questions?
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna head to Katie.
Dave, we can hear you. You might want to mute. Thank you. Sorry, go back to detail library. So here, it's all our drawings. So like, partition details, etc. One thing, we do have new signage standards. So I would, make sure you go through the master plan. This talks about the planning and some of the concepts. I would encourage, because numbering always it doesn't seem like a big deal, but once the team numbers the plans and it goes to your consultants, it's a big deal to change it down the road. So I would say, we do want to do PDR for room numbering and signage, but we can do ahead of time. We should do, once you guys number your plans per this new standard, we should send that in for PDR. They can do a review, make sure, the sequencing and then kind of the way the journey through the space. It works as is intended to be versus waiting for like a formal signage package to review all that. So I like to do the room numbering review ahead of time. So like, if you're early in DD or whatnot, we get that feedback. It's not as big of a deal to like, change room numbers than if you're like later on down the road. Right. So just wanted to mention that and maybe put that on your schedule that, the second you guys number those plans, let's send it out for PDR. It usually takes them a week. This is not a huge project, so they'll review it. Then we get feedback and we can adjust early on the project so it doesn't become a problem once electrical panels are numbered and all your consultants have to renumber, et cetera. So I would encourage that for sure.
Okay. And how do we send that? Is there an email or?
Yeah, there's a PDR request form. So we'll usually the tier 1 or the PM sends that in, but we can coordinate. We'll have to work that into our schedule for PDR review. So we'll just kind of send the information onto them saying, we expect these packages on these dates, but we do want to do the early signage. So we'll coordinate through the PM team, and I can help facilitate that as well. So. And then, so the wayfinding master plan is more about the concept, the organization, how this system works, and then interior signage here. That's all the specs. So you see like all the room numbers. There's information on the logo requirements, templates. So that section is more like the detailed. And then furniture. So if you click on that section, it takes you to our global furniture and flooring program. So this site here, we have our standard furniture information, ancillary, and then carpet and flooring. If you go award by region, we have bundles for each region. They're done about every 2 years. For this project, you would fall under Americas. So you can see all the specifications. That's Puget Sound. So here, our current Americas bundle, who our dealer is. So Porter is our dealer. They're a steel case dealer. So all those standard items like our work points, PEDs, task chairs, things like that. That's all kind of vetted and preset already. So we will.
So we have to use that.
Yes,
Okay.
that's the intention, that region. Again, if there's a reason to deviate, we can talk about it. I know we also have like options for customer spaces, which are, a little bit nicer tables and things like that. But I know we have a customer space here. If we want to deviate for one reason or another, we can talk about it and see if it makes sense, depending on, the
No,
project
I think
goals.
for
or
Miami, it's fine.
intentions.
In Latin America, we deviated just because of importation taxes.
Availability, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's go back here. So yeah, so we have
So we were planning on using like some ancillary furniture and brought from Latin America. Do we have to go through a process of approval? Do we have to provide any type of information in order to have that product be approved?
So ancillary, we have some design considerations here, like warranty. We don't have, it's more an open line approach, right? We can, in a way, get whatever we want, but we do want to understand warranty, durability, comfort. A lot, we've gone through a very extensive sit test recently where we've kind of tested thousands of products, and we feel like from a durability and sit test, comfort perspective, those are kind of true items that work for us, or certain brands we know that hold up over time, whereas other brands we understand that they don't work as well. And I'm in addition to my role as an RWS and working on projects, I oversee the furniture and global and flooring program, and I work with Kathleen. She's our manager for the program, so I have a lot of insights kind of in the background of our global standards here.
Okay.
But it will be a case by case. We would look at it. We do want to diverse suppliers are. We're really trying to build a program for furniture diverse suppliers. It's not ready yet, but if there's a local person or something that kind of speaks to the diverse supplier, we would love that story for the project as well. It's more the concern
that's
over
what we were
durability
thinking, like to have. There's some Indian communities that produce certain things in each country. The only thing is we probably won't have the 5-year warranty on it, so we'll see it case by case.
Yeah, definitely. We do. So that's what I wanted to touch on. If you go to ancillary furniture spotlight projects, there's just some examples. This Israel project was really interesting, and there's some like details on what they used, and then some imagery of ancillary. We do have the section with like sofas, tables, etc. That doesn't mean that you have to use just what's here. Again, we did a very large sit test recently. These are just products that we tested that we understand lead time. I know lead times are out of whack right now, but at that point, and
least.
then and then we had some. I mean, we don't have sustainability standards for ancillary, but we would prefer, if things are certified, or keep that in mind as you know as you're making your selections, because it's just ancillary is very complicated. Laptop tables is one thing that I would say we've tested all of these and we know they're stable. We've had a lot of issues with like tables tipping over or not being big enough. So that's one thing that I would want to make sure, if you're proposing something different, that at least you meet the criteria that we've outlined here, because we've had some issues in the past. But so let's see if I need to. Okay. Flooring and carpet, I would, again, just take a look at the section. One thing I wanted to point out, we have worked with, so we have let me go back to furniture, sorry. One thing with the bundle for the Americas, this recent bundle, from a cost savings perspective, we would like 80% of the ancillary furniture to be from brands that are I would say in a way like associated with Steelcase. So they're we can get from Porter, but there's a list of other brands that we would just get better pricing. It's quite expensive. It's a lot of manufacturers, and then that 20% could be more of those open lines. That's the guidance for this bundle. It will help us with just overall project savings. But again, depending on the story here, we can always evaluate. Also, with this diverse supplier initiative, Porter did some research a while ago, and they have, when you think about like accessories or other things that we may want to bring to the space, they did research some diverse makers and different suppliers. We can leverage them too if we want them to maybe do some more research in the Miami area. They do have a catalog of diverse suppliers for projects in the United States, but we could talk to them about that because that was a big initiative on their end that we thought was very interesting.
Great.
Flooring and carpet. So what I wanted to touch here, we've worked with all the manufacturers. We have pre-negotiated, we have contracts with all these, and they have these microsites where all their products that we have negotiating pricing, it's all essentially all their products. They built a website for us with their products in different tier, and you can kind of read what the definitions of the price points are. But all these products have also been vetted from a sustainability perspective. So when this just helps you with your selection. It's not, again, meant to hinder your creativity or narrow down how much selection you can make. And it's essentially pretty much all their products. But if you do pick outside of what the website has to offer, we just would need to make sure that it meets our sustainability criteria. Milliken doesn't have their site up. It's coming soon, I think in the next month or so.
Okay.
But we can always, I know our sustainability team has been working behind the scenes with all these manufacturers to make sure, we have a list of products that, again, meet that sustainability requirement. Let me see, this just takes us back to the website. So that was, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Building and systems. So again, a section on acoustics. We want to make sure, for all this acoustically sensitive spaces, there's a definition for that we meet those. Operable partitions too. We have minimum requirements, especially for the NPR. So make sure we take a look in there. So these are more like building systems, more that technical stuff. Lighting are, I'll just touch on this really quickly. Previously, our standards for lighting was very prescriptive. So you needed to have, a linear fixture here that, was doing X, Y, Z. And now it's more performance. So there are certain qualities and guiding principles of what we want to achieve with the lighting. And it's left up to the architect and lighting designer to make sure you're meeting the criteria, but you're not so, prescriptively tied to, you must use this linear fixture here, et cetera. Okay. So just make sure it has changed probably in the last 2 years to be less prescriptive and more performance-based.
In terms of performance, is there foot candles that we have to meet in certain areas, or in terms of also type of zonings and if you're gonna have different, sequences like with dimming and this and that, all that, right? Should be here.
Yeah, so here there's a section that's more the technical requirements. So yeah, it talks about how many foot candles. Yeah.
Okay.
Accent illumination. Yeah. So, and I know probably from zoning, and I don't know, some of that might be also driven by LEED, right? Like daylight harvesting, et cetera. So we need to take that into account as well.
Okay.
Okay. And then photo bank is just project examples from different regions. It's if you want to see some points of reference.
Great.
So the next section I had was related to PDR and why we have it. So this really just helps the team delivering our spaces to make sure, we understand our design standards, guidelines, and our language. It's meant to help us keep consistency across the portfolio. So they'll check right dimensions of rooms, that all the components of the rooms are there, planning, details like millwork details and things like that, make sure all that aligns with our guidelines. We are engaged through all the key milestones. So like schematic design, design development, CDs, et cetera, including the signage. So on our website, you can see there's a section for PDR. Here it lists the deliverables that we would want to review. And then we also have a log, a variance log that would be filled out by whoever's reviewing the drawing. So for this region, B+H does our PDR.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll review the drawings, have like a blue beam marked up. They'll also log it here. Then, we turn it over to the architects. You will review and make corrections or note, if it is a variance, then as a team we'll meet and, make sure that Alejandro and I and the project team were comfortable if we want to accept the variance or not, whatever the reason may be. And then just to have a log and a record of why we might have deviated from something and that things were corrected as they were intended to be. So,
Okay.
and then just the purpose of the program.
How long
really,
do they take to revise that?
It depends
Whenever-
on the project size. So, I'm thinking it's usually a week for them for the size of project. We submitted. It should take them a week to review the drawings and turn it back to us.
Okay.
And then we can set up a meeting where we all go through it together and understand their comments, et cetera.
Okay.
So I'm going to be updating the project schedule to incorporate the PDR review. So I'll give everyone kind of the
Okay.
what the schedule looks like when that's done.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So it's really what it helps us, we have all the logs, and then, the standards team will look through it and see, is there a common theme here, so that, do we need to make any adjustments on our standards and guidelines based on, if we're from project to project, we're getting the same deviation or something like that. So it's a way for us having the log and kind of that tracking of information helps us evolve our guidelines and just update it and always be learning. So project design review, we look through that. So test fits, I just put this here and I wanted to quickly touch on it. I'm not meant to review it or anything. From the program perspective, as you guys are evolving the test fit and designing it, I just want to make sure that we are tracking the test fit based on from the baseline program, so that we always are aware of any deltas, and then we can figure out as a team, okay, are we comfortable with this delta or not? What do we need to do, et cetera, right? Because we only have a certain amount of square footage to kind of fit all these puzzle pieces into.
Can we get an Excel of the program? That way we can have it live.
I can ask like this format here.
I mean, we can copy it, but it's just easier.
Yeah, let me check with the test fit team.
Can I ask a question? So all your processes that you had, when they did this test fit, or when the test fit was created, was everything to the guidelines that we just went through?
Yeah, the room sizes should be per our guidelines. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like typically it would be just the room size. If like they should all meet the minimum size requirement, in some instances, if you're trying to align to a wall in that room, it's like 6 inches larger. I'm not as concerned if the room goes below the minimum dimension. That's what I don't like that, right? Because in some of these rooms, we did go through an exercise not long ago for accessibility, to make sure that we have enough, all seats around the table can be accessible from a wheelchair and clear path, et cetera. So it may seem like some rooms are a little oversized, but that's, the exercise we did and landed on those sizes. So yeah, all the rooms here should at least meet the minimum dimensions unless we're trying to align to a column or some existing architecture. And if
Okay,
you find something that it's not working, just let me know.
regarding
Okay.
these test fits, is there something in your lease that makes you respect that corridor, the white corridor right after the elevator bank? Or can we push the project to include it? You know how you have your entrance door?
Which one?
I
You have
think
your
that was
entrance door to the
incorporated for
reception?
security. It was done for security reasons. I believe that's why that corridor was there.
Not
Because there was a
necessarily.
lot of talk about incorporating that.
Well, it's kind of weird because like you go into the reception area and then you go to the all the other rooms, and I don't see a door from that corridor, and it's like so you could actually walk into the space without even going through the reception area, like to do
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't think we need this door here. We will talk through security. The employee space is secured, so there's this door here and this door here that secures the employee space. On this floor, we did talk about it and we captured that corridor back, right? The
Right.
multi-tenant corridor in our space. So I think, yeah, there's room to figure out what to do with the space here because
Right,
these
but
people are
in
going to
all
need
the
access to the
floors, the
restrooms
access
too.
doors happen right after the corridor. Can we just move them up to the
Juliana, we can.
yeah.
Let me try to be more, I mean, as simple as I can. For those floors that we're taking the whole floor, the landlord is charging for that corridor. Okay, so that
Okay.
is pretty much ours. We have had the conversation with security. Itself, please feel free to jump, and they are flexible for us to use that corridor. We just have to provide security badge for the doors that we have, either for those, I mean, for those that are in the core.
Okay.
They are several, and for those that we are not taking the full floor, then we have to respect that corridor for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And perhaps the one that has the NPRs, it was just the way at the moment they created the test fits, but that was discussed, yes. So in both of those floors, we can use that corridor.
Okay.
Great.
And regarding, I don't know if you're going to talk about that afterwards. Actually, just finish and then we'll
Yes, when you think it's a proper time, Eduarda, to talk about the additional space that we are evaluating, please let me know. Now that
Sure,
we're in
yeah,
the test.
I had. So is anyone tracking the time? We have what, 30 more minutes-ish? Sorry, I wasn't.
40. Yeah, like
40 minutes. Okay, so we have a little time. Maybe Alejandro, let's I'll wrap this up. The only other thing I was going to say is I would like you guys to make sure you're also tracking the usable, we call it MUA square footage. So as you're just working through your test fits,
okay.
I would like to just track that number because, you know, it's good to know from a square foot per person, whatever we land. So the next section I had, Alejandro, was like the virtual tour. So I just had the, you know, imagery of completed projects. So if you want to, I can jump to the, you know, we can pause here and you can give a download on the extra space and then I can jump to that section.
So if we're not going to talk more about the test fit, the question is how can we have the liberty, of course, after studying all the new standards, to move this test fit as we see fit, or what do we have to respect in terms of like where everything's placed?
Yeah, I think so I can tell you what I like about the test fit, and Alejandro, please feel free to jump in as well. I think some constraints we have is with the stairs. Those locations, I think the way we placed it here is because it falls within that opening from the structural drawings, but you know, you guys take a look at that and see what makes sense. We have to secure the stairs because it does go through all three, you know, all other two employee floors. So the thought was, you know, either some glazing and having, again, making it feel transparent and not as a barrier, because I think it could be a really cool design element for the customers to kind of see that activity coming through. On the employee floors, I like how this have these kind of neighborhood spaces, it is a little bit deeper than I would have liked, but because we like to have that access to daylight to all employees, so it does feel a bit deep for these seats here. But I like that it's not like a sea of workstations, right? That not everyone, you wouldn't walk in and just see like an endless amount of seats. So this works well with our neighborhood concepts and the way we plan spaces. And I believe these are, I don't know, do you have a sill or is it full height glazing here where you would get quite a bit of daylight?
We haven't received sections.
I'm pretty sure it's full height,
Yeah, we need to
just based
receive.
on the renderings we saw.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, we do, but we do need structural drawings, sections. Yeah, as much information as you can get us, Dan. But
I
definitely
just bumped
section.
into Alex Brown again and said something to him because I'm still waiting on that that
Okay.
information.
I think the way, and I'm just talking more about like the qualities, not, you know, you guys, we want you to look at the test fit with a critical eye and, you know, thinking about design, etc. I think the separation between those active zones and then having the heads down zones separated by these hard walls seem to work well. So you're not having a lot of noise bleeding to where the neighborhoods or where people are trying to get work done. I don't like where this all gender restroom ended up. I think this kind of sequencing here is a little odd. So I think definitely studying what happens here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally agree. Yeah.
If you guys are on board with that. Anything else, Alejandro, that you can think of from your perspective?
Yes, I mean, let me quickly share what is going on about the customer space. I mean, before we stop sharing, if you can see in the test fit, the first test fit that we are seeing, right, the first floor, right after you come from the elevators, you have like a lobby, right,
Yeah.
where the door is. All that part to the right is what we call customer space. Okay,
Right.
you have
Right.
the NPRs.
On the foyer.
Yeah, that one. Okay, that is, let's say, the standard customer space that we have for a subsidiary. Okay, that is, I mean, if we reapply what we have today into the new location, of course, with new standards, new technology, everything new, it will be much better. But it is pretty much like, from the strategy point of view, the same approach. Okay, and this is what it has been funded. Okay, this is what is approved. And you know the approach, being very transparent. All this information is confidential. The leadership team is asking us to evaluate, let's say, an enhanced customer space. Okay, that can fall into two options. Okay, all this information that I will share, it will change. Okay, but it's for me to, let's say, for me to better explain what we are evaluating at what is the implication at this point.
Okay.
Let me know when you can see my screen.
I think we are showing.
Yeah. We see your screen, Alejandro.
I'm the only
Yeah.
one with the camera on. Let's go.
Okay, good to go. Okay, so option number one. I don't know, guys, if you have been in Microsoft MTC, what
We
is
have
called
not.
No.
Microsoft
No, not
Technology
yet.
Center. Okay,
No.
it is a very specialized customer space. The approach is technical. Okay, and
Actually, I have. Isn't there one in New York?
most probably yes.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
I've been to the one in New York.
So what you have is around 9,000 square foot. It's not small. Okay, you have the main featuring here is called an envisioning theater. Okay, it is a very nice piece of space, as you can see, and it's pretty much where you can share all the content that you need. By the way, this piece of art, let's say, it's around
Mhm.
1.5 million worth. Okay,
Wow.
this is in the center, and you have some other spaces. The other one could be the innovation factory. It's a space. Let me take it to back. It's a space that is pretty much flexible, okay, and it's
Mm-hmm.
triggered to have strategy, brainstorming kind of thing.
Yeah, we
Okay,
designed one for the Bogota project last year.
yeah, probably
Mm-hmm.
that.
No,
Yeah,
well, not
perfect.
last year, the year before.
You
Mhm.
have another experience zone, okay, where you put pretty much devices, okay, Microsoft
Okay.
devices,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
either laptops with software or even solutions from the partners, okay.
Okay.
And for sure, you have rooms, some flex, some formal, and social area. Okay, this is what we
Okay.
call Microsoft Technology Center. This is one of the options. Okay, and this is pretty standard. Okay, we have all the guidelines, and we follow the guidelines. We know the space. It is expensive, but we know how to do it. Okay. The other one is a little bit more customized. Okay, why customized? It's because this customer space receives C-suite teams. Okay, so the Microsoft Technology Center option number one has a lot of pros, but they are aimed to have like hackathons, like ideation sessions, like architecture design sessions, things that are a little bit more technical and have probably a CFO, CTO, they are not into that level of detail. Okay. This one is an alternative. It's much smaller. Okay. And the approach is to make our current customer space a proper executive briefing center. The difference in terms of space is not that much. We just have much higher finishes. Okay. Let's say much nicer, and a little bit more of technology. Okay, and there is this industry experience center. It will be a portion of an industry experience center, and what you have is, let's say, marquee kiosks to have between 3 to 4 industry experiences. This what you're seeing is the Boston MTC. Okay, here you have a remote work setting, that is this one. Okay, and then you have a health portion, and what you pretty much display is the technology that applies to that industry. And in the other side, you have the manufacturing. We can choose, I think there are out of 60 options of these industries. Okay, what we know so far, we can go either option one, option two, a mix of both, or nothing. Okay, because
When will you
everything
know?
Yeah. Yes,
everything
when?
costs. So I would say that from the design point of view, this may be one of the largest challenges. Okay, this conversation, I mean, this presentation will be shown to the leadership team in September, early September. It's
Oh,
because
wow.
everybody is on vacations right now. From
Mhm.
the leadership team, because our fiscal year closes at June, then we have the ready, and then everybody went out. And that the formal approval, the soonest that we can have, is February. Okay, and it's because our very own processes of approving funds. So Alejandro, why you are saying this now? You're just concerned and you're not providing any answers. The thing is, I mean, ideal, I mean, we will have to manage ambiguity. That is the thing. And it for sure doesn't make sense to have our current customer space with either option one or two separated.
Right.
Okay, that is the main concern. I would just leave that sweet bump in the table, and please,
Well,
guys, look
can
forward.
we go back to the test for a second and see?
Can I ask a question before we do that? So are these options in addition to the square footage we have, or is it to be
No,
included
yes.
in the square footage we have?
In addition, option one is around 9,000 square foot.
Right.
By the way,
No, I'm
there
asking.
is
Yeah, in
So
addition, in
In
addition.
addition, so it's in
In
addition
addition.
to where we are. So the line, let's say on whatever floor it is, because the delta is pretty big from 1,000
Well,
to
the
3,000.
problem we're facing is that it should be in
the
the
first
floor next to the customer experience.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so that
right.
means that we would have to, that's
Right.
why I want to go back to the test fit to see how to
This
plan
one,
this.
Guys, it's flexible, right? It's not like it
Mhm.
has to be 9,000 square foot. We have MTCs. I think Brazil is around 6,000. Mexico is 9,000. And the number goes around the rest of the half a floor that we are not taking, right? So to make, like, let's say, things a little bit easier, right? We can assume that if we go for the MTC, we take 3 full floors, okay?
Right.
If that makes things a little bit easier. This one, this EBC is upgrading what we already have, right?
Right.
And the only portion that is additional is this 1,000 square foot. It's not
Okay.
much.
Mhm.
Right. Right. So that's why that's not a big deal because it's only 1,000. Right. Right.
Yep, correct.
Okay.
In the in-between from now to February, we will not have a project funded, but for sure we will have guidance from the leadership team, right? So it may be, hey guys, the team has completely disregarded option 1 or option 2. So the ambiguity that we have to manage is only for one of the options, okay? I mean, we will have information between now and February. Formally approved, probably until February.
Okay. So, okay. So going back to the test fit. Eduardo, you want to put up the test fit?
Oh, yeah. Just a second.
So that means that we would have to, okay,
Reallocate that half
reallocate that other half of
In the
that
left
floor.
part. Yeah. Mhm.
Right.
to the
So,
low, to whatever's remaining below. Right.
so what's there right now in terms of neighborhoods? That,
It's employee space.
okay, so we would, right now we should design it to be employee space, but all that could move to the bottom floor.
Mhm.
You
Right,
can
Right.
move around. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
And that
because
so,
is
if you look
that
at the
is
floor plate,
expected.
you're about 14,000. So you can definitely fit either A or B on that whole bottom. So the top neighborhood would then just be reallocated to level 45, and then the rest of level 47 will be
Mhm.
that whole either option A or option B. I mean, option A for sure, because that's not 9,000 square feet. Option B, if they only take only 1,000 square feet, only a part of the neighborhood would then be reallocated downstairs to, once the lease line, to the other floor, right?
yeah, I mean, I think we can develop both layouts with both
Yeah.
options and just have like, if it's approved, this is what we're going with, and if it's not, this is what we're going with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, let's see what are the options. I mean, there's no easy answer. If you take a look on the employee space, it will not fit on the half a floor that we are taking. Okay, it's more
Right.
space.
Yeah.
So I would say there is the challenge. That is the challenge.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, we'll
And
figure that out.
options to discuss. Very open to discuss. Either have customer space smaller. Well, it depends how smaller. To have the customer space in 2 floors, probably, I don't know. Options up to you guys.
Okay.
Okay.
In case you
Alejandro,
thought
And
that
one other
our
question
project
regarding the
was
stair.
boring.
Sorry.
Right? In case that
Go
you
ahead.
thought that our project was boring.
Oh, we never thought that. Regarding the stair, yeah, we do need the structural plans, but can we make, we can make a more interesting stair, can we, without
Definitely.
taking that? Okay. Yeah, 'cause it just seems like it's difficult to make it look interesting. Okay.
Sexy. We want a sexy stair.
Okay.
So one little comment on the stairs. I just wanted to reiterate something that I said to everyone last time we met, which is a goal would be to see if we can set those locations before September the 7th so that they could be incorporated into the GC's shell work versus us trying to have to cut these things in a later date.
Okay, so what's the slab? What's their timelines for pouring these slabs?
They're like a week of floor.
Okay, and what?
So,
So when are they
September
pouring
7th.
slab? Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know the exact date, but September 7th was the date that they needed to have information so that they could go back to their engineers, relook at that specific slab to look at how the PT cables would have to be run, and then
Okay,
still
so we don't
make
have to have
the
structural
schedule.
designs for September 7. All we have to have is basically the cutout
Yellow.
of the slab.
Precisely.
Okay. Okay, that seems feasible.
And one more thing, I think that we were also discussing about the stairs. There is a, I mean, I don't know what we had discussed is that we might not need the stairs connecting the 3 floors, perhaps only 2 the employee spaces.
Unless we go
after-
with 3 floors, the 3 full floors, no?
Well,
Or no?
regardless, it looks like we are.
Oh, you
connecting.
mean, okay, but right now, well, there are 3 floors with employee spaces. If we go with a full floor of customer,
Exactly.
but we won't know until, so we're gonna have stair connecting all 3 just because we
Well,
won't know.
the thing is, you cannot connect a customer with an employee space in the same stairs.
But in a pretense structure, it's super easy to just cover the cutout versus it's impossible to open it.
No. What I'm saying is you cannot connect an employee area with a customer area because of security of Microsoft.
Right. So if that all that floor is a customer space, we're not going to have the stair there.
Correct,
So
yeah.
we'll cover the cutout.
Yes.
We'll pour on top of it. Versus if it's not approved and we do need the stair, then we can't do it afterwards.
Correct.
So even if we secure the stairs, we would not want to connect all 3 floors?
No, I'm not. Oh, okay.
Well,
that's more of a Microsoft question, I guess.
Yes, I mean, we can, as I think that my understanding is that we can connect them if they are the same area, right? Customer space with customer or employee space with employee, or not we have to separate the stairs from the rest, which is, that will be for AEI to see how that looks nice. But what I'm saying is more related to if we need more space and we decided that the customer's floor, it's only customer floor, right? We might need to remove that because the floor below will be employee. So
or have a batch reader, right?
We can have a batch reader.
Yeah, like
It's
the customers could see the stairs, but they couldn't use it. Only employees could use to come up like, to the customer floor for presentations or whatnot.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's like public and private. That is.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can definitely close it.
Yeah, and look nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had the next section here. If we're ready to move on, it was just more imagery of
Eduarda,
some
may
completed.
I have a very quick and random comment, but it's important. We use your video to show the leadership team. We talked about that we have awarded you guys pretty much, and they were very excited. There is only one term that, from the inclusivity point of view, we should avoid, which is the Latino one.
Okay.
Okay. It is a little bit, I don't know, rebuscado, but it's.
You mean the word?
The word, yeah, Latino.
And what word do you use in Microsoft to describe?
Latin American, Caribbean.
Okay.
Okay.
Latin American.
Okay.
Okay.
A
It's just the word,
comment,
right?
It's just the word, yeah.
Okay.
And it doesn't mean that we need to change the video or anything, but in the future,
Okay.
if we want to use let's avoid Latino.
Okay.
Okay.
It was random but important. Sorry. Eduardo.
Okay.
Yeah, no, thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Thank you. One other question, Dan. Is it possible through Alex to get they must have that. They must have drone views so we can see the views from that height?
I can request it.
We
Yeah,
have a
I'm sure they
we
have
have
something.
a virtual tour. Yes.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And if we have the time, I have the link available. We
Oh,
can do
yeah,
that.
you can just send us the link and we can look at it. But so we make sure the views and we know what the views are also.
They are all amazing. Yes.
Yeah, because you're so high up.
So I think since we talked about MTC, EBC, I'll just start with this section here. So I just pulled some imagery of like recently completed projects, and you can see there's a very wide range of flavor, I would say. So this project was recently, right, probably 2019 was completed. This is in Redmond. It's a small MTC, so this is the Welcome Entry Lounge. They have an envisioning theater, so that's more like that technical area. You know, it's again, it's very expensive build out. So this was fairly new. This project is in Alpharetta, so this is the lobby, and it also had
Where is
some customer
Alpharetta?
space.
Georgia.
Oh, okay, thanks. Let's brush up on my geography.
So you know, a showcase space. They did have an envisioning center. I believe this one was completed 2018, so it's a little bit older. I don't think that technology with that larger screen. I think now going more towards that, but you can get a feel for. So this one is Chicago MTC 2019, the pre-function space. You know, I think here it's really nice how they use kind of landscaping to bring some of that greenery in.
Are those real?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can see some browning going on here.
Oh yeah, they're real.
And that's the other thing. We prefer real greenery if we can make it work. I don't think we would want to use.
Does it
like,
have a drip system? Do we have to include a drip system or you
I
have
mean,
a good
it
maintenance
depends on the
program?
design. I think, you know, it depends on the design and the site and what the maintenance is. So this one is the Chicago MTC Envisioning Theater. These are breakout spaces in Chicago. So you can see, I think, you know, some of this is alluding to the L and the metro system. So a little bit of that local flavor. Innovation Factory, again, in Chicago. I believe these spaces are meant to be very flexible with some movable walls, movable furniture, etc.
What's with the guy in the bicycle?
I
Are
don't know
those
what
the
he's doing.
the Microsoft glasses?
Yeah, the HoloLens or HoloLens.
Okay.
Yeah, don't ask me about the technology.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea.
All right.
Alejandro, you're probably a better person to talk about the technology than I am.
I have used them. Yeah, they are pretty nice. Yeah.
And then with we are currently in our Redmond campus developing 72 acres, and that includes a new EBC. And I just wanted to share, I thought was interesting. There's the concept of the exhibit. So the architect came up with these vignettes for the different exhibits. And again, I don't know if we'll have this in our space, just wanted to give you guys an idea.
Is this a B+H?
No, this is a different architect.
Oh, okay.
They came up with these modular solutions in a way as a kit of parts where you can have more flexibility with what these vignettes are for these exhibits. And again, this is a much larger project, and this was the requirement for this, but just to kind of get you a flavor of the range of different things we see from these more, I guess, higher end customer spaces. This is what we call evergreen. So it's an NPR space. Thinking about the NPR space and the customer space, we do have the opportunity to look at the ceiling and other design elements just to make it more elevated experience. There are some breakout wrap-up rooms. So this is just, and again, the concept for this was very Pacific Northwest because that's our region, that's where we are. So there was a lot of that influenced the design. So that was just a little bit on MTCs and EBCs. On the photo bank, there are some imagery for those spaces too, if you guys want to take a look. So virtual tour, I pulled some recently completed projects. This project here was for cloud. The concept was the evolution of cloud computing. So a big element of the design was this feature wall. Each floor, it kind of stacked. This is where you enter and you go to the elevator banks. So it was like different patterns on different floor. That kind of one was like abstracted abacus. The next one was something else that related to cloud computing. So it again was kind of very specific to that user group. And then this element up here.
Is this Redmond or where?
This is in Redmond. Yeah. And then this element here was meant to kind of emulate like a cloud. So you can see like playful ways to play off, the region and then the client as well. This is the same.
Was that lighting or it was just wood?
It was just wood, just like wood dowels. Yeah, so that patterning on that screen kind of changes depending on what floor you're on to, I can't remember, it was like 6 floors and they have different patterns that related to cloud computing on each floor.
Are those actual artworks or is it more of a graphic solution converted into a artwork?
These are graphic solutions. So we engaged with an EGD company that came up with these ideas and did the install. For art pieces, so this mural here was a local artist that was hired. So if we are wanting to work with local artists, we will just need to engage with the MS Art team. We have an MS Art team that can help us vet through, the artists and things like that. And there are certain requirements, but this is kind of like that community hub design. The next imagery, you can see a lot of wood. I know a lot of these are Redmond, but I do have other examples of other areas so that, using ordinary elements to kind of create screens, just different fun ways to outfit the space. These, I know we don't have atrium spaces, but thinking about the opening for the stairs, how we can make sure, we treat around that opening to make it interesting as well. Again, a lot of wood in these examples. Another of those hub community spaces. We will have, some specialty rooms, either like quiet rooms, library, or game rooms. That's another area where we can be fun and have some of those moments of discovery. Oops, went too fast. Here, just being playful, with like code language. And again, this was part of EGD for this specific project. This one just very Pacific Northwest too. This was in Redmond. Bringing the outdoors in, we had garage doors here that kind of opened up to the landscape around it, if possible. I know, we're in a very different type of setting. This one is a Lisbon project, and I liked it because I feel like it has those qualities from our design language, but I like the contrast from what we just saw. The other previous projects I just showed, being in Redmond and this one being in Lisbon. It's very nice and clean, but to me, it still has that warmth with some of these natural elements that they're using. This image I added, I know it's not super exciting, but to me, how we can elevate those more ordinary spaces, just doing a wall covering in a focus room is a fun way to this is a very functional space, and maybe a lot of times is what we kind of leave, the back burner. It's not, the focal of the space, but little things, whether it be just a pendant, we have to purchase lighting already. Can we find a fun light fixture that, still works with the budget, that's more exciting than just can lights, etc. So I thought this was a good example. Same thing for a conference room here, just doing, something different with the lighting and maybe with the film on the glazing, that can bring a little bit more into the space. So the next project is a little out there. So this was for UX design group, where the user, not the user, the leadership had a very specific vision that he wanted the space to be. So you can see it's a bit eclectic, but really spoke to the work they do.
In Redmond?
And their team. Yeah, this one is in Redmond too. So this is a lease space where the other ones are owned. So that's the only difference there. Here is another of those collaborative spaces, and these are the same in the same building. So just creating like experience and making sure that it kind of all works together. But this was very client driven, but we want to make sure that's still aligned with our design language.
Very cool.
This one is São Paulo, right? And I think this desk to me just looks so beautiful, really nice. I thought the space was really, really, really nice and spoke to our design language, especially all the greenery, and understanding the location also helps. But Innovation Factory here. Again, this focus room, I thought just having the difference on the painting and wall covering and, maybe some wall sconces just adds a little bit to that space. So I thought that was a clever way to dress up this space. This is still São Paulo. So that was all the imagery I had. Again, there's a lot of examples in our photo bank, or if the team has any questions about the content, more than happy to, follow up.
Yeah, this has been amazing. Thank you.
Yes,
putting it
thank you,
together.
Eduarda.
Thank you. So any questions? We got 5 minutes, or Alejandro, anything you'd like
No, I'm
to?
sure we're going to have a bunch once we all get onto the website and we study it, or maybe not. Maybe it's so thorough. I mean, we glimpsed through it on David's computer, but obviously we weren't able to deep dive.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So we are going to have the weekly meetings, or is the time and date set?
Nope, that's exactly what I was just about to bring up. So it seems like we're all busy. So I'm trying to find a time that works for everyone's schedules. So that was my last topic I wanted to discuss. We were attempting to go for Wednesday mornings. That seems to be, I think when we were looking through everyone's schedules, that seems to be a time that most had available. And I think we had said something like 10 or 10:30 Eastern time, which I think that's like 8. That's actually too early for you, Eduardo, right? That's like 7:30 your time.
Yeah, you said Eastern, right?
Right. So are we talking like maybe around 11 a.m. or just does Wednesdays work for everyone? Is I guess the initial question.
Yeah, Wednesdays are good.
Wednesdays work.
Okay. So the next question is, what time on Wednesdays works for everybody?
I like 11.
2 p.
Yeah.
11
would be good.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Eduardo, does that work for you? That's like 8 a.m.
So that's
time.
8 a.m. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and we would do a 1-hour session each week.
I would just schedule it in as 1.5, because what we do is that we schedule something right afterwards. So just to have that, so we don't have the time pressure. Yeah, that buffer.
Okay.
Eduarda, I think that you have something on Wednesdays.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm looking here. I think I can. It's a OAC for another project that just moved this time. Used to be Monday afternoons. Let me double check on this, because sometimes I can get them to just pull out the design stuff and I don't have to be in there the whole time. So yeah, let me
Does Wednesday in
check.
the afternoon work, which would be like maybe like 3 p.m. our time, which would be like noon your time?
Yeah, that works as well for us.
That's
Would that be better?
Yeah, 12 should work for me. The only thing next week, I already have time scheduled, but going forward, I could, yeah, it would be like 12 to 1:30 for me. That should work.
Does that work for everyone else? 3 p.m. Eastern for those of
Yes.
us over here?
Yes.
What about you, Itzel, Alejandro? Does that work for you as well?
I have to move some things around, but
For me, it
I'll make
works.
it work.
No problem.
Okay,
Even
so we will say 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30. I'm sorry, 3 p.m. Eastern,
3.
4 p.m. Brazilian time, whatever that is. Alejandro, you're Central, so I think that's 2, and 12 o'clock for Eduardo.
Yes.
I will
Okay,
accommodate.
perfect.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, so I will send out an invite to everybody. And does next week work to start this, or do we need to push 1 week and then get everyone's schedules? So that
I'm
not
fine.
next week, but the
I'm
following
fine
week
for
we
next
start.
week. I'm fine for next week.
I'm-
Yeah, Andrea's on vacation for 1 week.
right.
And yeah, so but it's fine because if we record these meetings, then whoever's not there can catch up.
Yeah. So, but the rest of
Eduardo?
the team should be able to go. Right.
Yeah, I'm
Are you
fine
good,
from
Eduardo?
12 to 1. I'll have a hard stop at 1 because I already have another meeting, but then all my other dates are available. I am on vacation. I'm out of the office the week of the 23rd, so I'll just be out that week.
Okay.
So
So
2
for
weeks from
next
next week.
Wednesday, we'll have the website completely studied and hopefully a first go at the layout
Perfect.
to discuss. Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much for your time. It's super interesting. Eduardo, do we have a number? Did you, my Teams wasn't working, so I logged on like 3 minutes late and I heard you were talking about that. Did we get a number to who to call for the help desk?
It's an email. It's an alias for the ResNet. I
Okay,
think I
if you
had
could
it
just
on
send us that, or
my
it was on the
email.
email? It was on the
Yeah.
email that, okay, we'll
Yeah.
check for
It's
that.
like
okay.
ResNet support or something support. So it's,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll send an email over.
Do we
Okay.
have the CAD files?
No, I'm still trying to get those out of the developer.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So
No, okay. Yeah,
that's-
we can. Yeah, we won't have, yeah, we need those in order to be able to.
Yeah, that's I'm like, I'm like,
Yeah, and we
Okay.
need to transfer them into Beam. Are we gonna get them on Revit or
Trying to
on
get the
CAD?
Revit. I don't know. I've requested both. I don't know
Okay.
what they have.
Okay.
So whatever we get, we get.
Okay.
I'm
perfect.
trying to
Yeah,
get the
no,
Revit
that's-
model,
no.
so I think you'd prefer that, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it would be easier, but don't sweat it because if you get the CAD, we'll just trace it and, it is
Convert
what
it.
it is.
But we
Yeah,
need
don't,
sections in order to be able to do the heights. And you said last meeting that somebody was going to create a OneDrive for the
Yes, we're in the
project?
process of doing that.
Okay.
We will get something out. It'll be a Teams that we can all share from. So
Okay.
we'll get that set up too. And I would think by next meeting, we should have that.
I don't know if it's the
taken
same,
care of.
Dan, but I created one already, and you should be
That was the one.
included. It's
Okay.
already
Okay.
created. Then
Oh,
Juliana
I just
and
got
There.
something from you.
Let me see, where is
Look
it?
at
Let me
you.
look at my Teams.
I need to jump off because I have another call. I apologize, but thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, no
Thank you.
problem. Yeah, Alejandro, I just got it.
Oh, okay.
So I think,
So we can
is there
forward it to
supposed
the
to be a
rest of the
link to
team.
it? Okay, perfect.
You are
Okay.
you. I mean, you, Itzel, and Melissa are owners, so please feel free to start adding our
Oh,
partners.
I got you. Okay.
So I'm sorry, I'm not
Perfect.
as I see my Teams. Is Microsoft supposed to show up there, or do I have to do something?
Well, we need to add you.
Oh, okay,
We
got
just-
it.
Yeah,
we just
we'll
started
send
ourselves.
something to
Oh,
you.
okay, okay, got it. Okay.
And I just put, oh no, wait, I just put it wrong. But I will put the ResNet email address for you to check on.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Itzel.
Okay, that's not the right
correct.
one, or it is the right one?
No, it is not. I'm just typing
Oh,
it.
okay, okay,
I did a
Got it.
typo.
The tours link is in the chat, guys.
okay, wonderful. Thanks.
Thank
Now
you
is
so
the
much.
correct one.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
everybody.
Okay.
Have a great
So
weekend.
thank you to everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.